Vodka is the most versatile ingredient for cocktails, because it doesn't have its own distinct flavor and therefore goes with almost everything. So I decided to do a little experiment and make some well-known cocktails, replacing the main alcohol with vodka. Right now on Dr. Cork. Today I'm going to find out how much the popular cocktails with rum, tequila and gin will change if you make them with vodka. Besides, decent vodka is usually cheaper, so why not try it? Let's start with a Mexican classic and one of the most popular cocktails in the world, the Margarita. Combining the tartness of lime and the sweetness of orange liqueur with the distinctive flavor of tequila, the classic Margarita remains one of the most recognizable examples of sour cocktail category. It was most likely invented in the mid-20th century in Acapulco, Mexico, as a twist on the daisy cocktail. So, Vodka Margarita. Firstly, let's rim the glass with salt. Rub the lime wedge along the rim of the glass to moisten it. Then roll the edge of the glass in salt to coat. You may also set the salt-rimmed glass in the freezer to keep it cold while you mix your cocktail, but I won't bother. Margarita is shaken, and to the shaker we're gonna add vodka, 2 ounces, 60 milliliters. Then the orange liqueur. You can use Cointreau, you can use triple sec, but I prefer dry curacao. Half an ounce, 15 milliliters. In the original recipe, no syrup is added to the margarita, the sweetness should come from the orange liqueur, but I purposefully reduced the amount of liqueur to add agave syrup, which will hopefully make up for the lack of tequila in our cocktail. 1.5 ounce, 15 milliliters of agave syrup. Freshly squeezed lime juice, about 1 ounce, 30 milliliters. Fill the shaker with ice and shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. Fine strain to the salt-rimmed glass and garnish with a lime wheel. Pretty good, I must say. Of course, there's no tequila flavor, but there's no feeling that the cocktail is somehow wrong. It just feels like it was made with worse, less bright tequila. I think that agave syrup helped with that. If I was served this cocktail at a bar, I wouldn't think that it has vodka in it. I'd just think that it was a margarita with some cheap tequila. But of course, if you have a choice, use good quality tequila. I personally prefer Reposado or Añejo. Nevertheless, my verdict okay. The next cocktail I'm gonna make is Negroni, a completely different type of cocktail consisting of Campari, sweet vermouth and gin, or in my case vodka. Legend has it that the cocktail was invented at Caffè Cassoni in Florence, Italy in 1919 when Count Camillo Negroni, or in other versions someone in his family, asked the bartender to make him an Americano cocktail, replacing the soda with gin. I made a whole video about these cocktails, check it out. It's funny that one of the first ambassadors of the Negroni cocktail was Orson Welles, who said in 1947, "The bitters are excellent for your liver, the gin is bad for you, they balance each other." Orson Welles was certainly a great director, but I wouldn't trust him on this one. The Vodka Negroni cocktail, like the original, is stirred. Today I'll be using a separate mixing glass, but there's nothing wrong in stirring the cocktail directly in the serving glass, as not to dirty the extra utensils. Fill the stirring glass with ice, stir the ice to cool down the glass, and drain the excess water. Now the ingredients. Red sweet vermouth, 1 ounce, 30 milliliters. Campari bitter liqueur, also 1 ounce, 30 milliliters. And vodka instead of gin, the same amount, 1 ounce, 30 milliliters. I will also add Angostura bitters to make up for the lack of gin, 1-2 dashes. Add some more ice and stir well to chill and dilute the cocktail for about 30 seconds. Put a big ice ball in an old-fashioned glass and strain the cocktail on ice. Drizzle the essential oils from an orange zest and garnish with it. I have to admit that I'm not a big fan of the original Negroni just because of the gin. I'm a fan of Americano or even Dr. Americano. So I can say that Vodka Negroni is better. It doesn't have too much botanical flavors. In my opinion, everything is pretty balanced. And it's just the right amount of bitterness. Of course, if you are a Negroni fan, you will be missing something and the lack of gin may discourage you. Nevertheless, it's a definite like, share and add to the favorites. The Mojito, one of the most popular rum cocktails in the world, tracing its roots back to the famous El Drac cocktail from the 16th century Cuba, which consisted of aguardiente, the precursor of rum, lime, mint and sugar. It was supposedly used for medicinal purposes, but it's not hard to imagine that it was just drunk for fun and flavor. A classic mojito is made with sugar, not simple syrup, but personally I'm not a fan of adding sugar to cocktails. It's hard to dissolve in cold liquid, besides syrups have already been invented. So I'm gonna use the Demerara sugar syrup, which will provide a bit of cane flavor and will make up for the lack of rum. Anyway, I hope it will. To make the syrup, I simply mixed equal parts of cane sugar and boiling water by weight. Another digression from the classics, pebble ice is often used in mojitos, but I can't stand it. It gets in all the cracks. I'm talking about the straws. So I'll use normal, decent sized ice cubes. Otherwise, this is a standard recipe, well, except for the vodka. So to the highball glass, or tulip glass, or whatever you want to call it, put a whole lime, cut into 8 pieces. Take the great equalizer, also known as a muddler, and muddle the lime to get the juice and essential oils out of it. Can you just use lime juice? Yes, you can, but it tastes better this way. Then add about 6 to 8 mint leaves and muddle them lightly. It's important not to turn the mint into mush, so tread carefully. A few confident moves are enough. Then pour a Demerara sugar syrup, 2/3 of an ounce, 20 ml, vodka, 2 ounces, 60 ml, fill the glass with ice and stir. Then take soda and pour it on top, about 2 to 3 ounces, 60 to 90 ml. Stir a little more, and this is how you make vodka mojito. It's delicious, refreshing, sweet, sour, minty. Lacks a little bit of complexity of flavor that rum gives, but it's still a workable version. Something closer to a caipirosca with mint. I like this cocktail, but I think it would be even better with high quality rum, but it's good on its own too. And another cocktail that frankly doesn't quite fit the theme of this video, but I'll make it anyway, the Espresso Martini. You might say, what? It's already a vodka-based cocktail, what nonsense! Indeed, the Espresso Martini is vodka, espresso, simple syrup and coffee liqueur, but those who have watched my DIY videos know that coffee liqueur is in fact coffee with alcohol and sugar. Yes, in my case I made it with rum and added vanilla, but the idea is the same. And I've been wondering for a long time, what if I removed the coffee liqueur from Espresso Martini and just added a little more syrup, coffee and vodka? Would there even be a noticeable difference? Let's find out. We'll call the cocktail Vodka Espresso, because that's about all of its ingredients, well, sugar too. In order not to complicate our lives, we will assume that coffee liqueur is equal parts of vodka, sugar and coffee. So all we need to do is just increase each of the ingredients a little bit. To the cocktail shaker, add vodka, 65 ml instead of 60, espresso, 1 ounce and a little more, 35 ml instead of 30. Instead of simple syrup, I will use Demerara sugar syrup, since I already made it, 2/3 of an ounce, 20 ml instead of the usual 15. A tiny pinch of salt to enhance the coffee flavor. Fill the shaker with ice and shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. Fine strain into a cocktail glass and garnish with exactly 3 coffee beans. Well, it's the same Espresso Martini. A bitter, sweet, tart and pleasant cocktail. Probably because I know there's no coffee liqueur in there, there's a slightly flatter flavor sensation. The Demerara sugar syrup is definitely appropriate here, it makes the taste more complex, and you could, by the way, add vanilla syrup, also would have turned out great. All in all, I give it a like. Well, that's about it. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe everywhere, don't forget the join button on YouTube and my Patreon. You can find all the recipes in text form on my website, thedrcork.com, the link is in the description to this video. Love you all, drink responsibly, and as always, до свидос!